1, 2, 3, 4. The radio dial glows amber, like it did that first December, when your voice came through static, like you lived inside the wiring. I traced the same grain of wood, where I sat before I understood that beginning sounds just like an ending. When you rewind, the floor remembers what the floor reflects. Some loves are circular, they end exactly where they started. Side again, side again. I turn the dial with my thumb, just like I did when I was young. Your ghost fits in the silence between the notes and violence of trying not to cry in the same room, saying why. The floor remembers what the floor reflects. Some loves are circular, they end exactly where they started. Side again, side again. I pressed record that night on the radio beside your coat. The tape hissed your name in code. Now the ribbon is worn so thin I can see right through your skin to the static underneath, where we will always be. I turn the dial, I turn the dial, I turn the dial. Found your face in the kitchen drawer, where the light comes sideways through the door. This photograph's lost all its color, but your voice plays clear as a tape in my head. Wore the sweater until the threads tell stories that the washing forgot. Fingers still know where your initials were, carved into the sleeve, still warm from you. I don't know why I keep the evidence when it's just pieces now. Just pieces. The photo faded, the feeling never did. I hold it in my hands, and I hold what it hit. The photo faded, but I'm still here, rewinding moments that disappear. That disappear. Your coffee cup still sits on the sill, collecting dust like a small betrayal. I traced the rim where your mouth was, a careful archaeology of before. The cassette hiss tells me everything about the way you'd hum when you couldn't sleep, how the static would bloom around your words like flowers growing through cracked concrete. Time erases is what the camera caught, but not what mattered. Not what mattered. The photo faded, the feeling never did. I hold it in my hands, and I hold what it hid. The photo faded, but I'm still here, rewinding moments that disappear. Maybe that's the secret, maybe that's the design. Some loves aren't meant to last, just meant to override. Your echo lives in objects I touch without intending. My thumb finds every groove where your presence was attending. The photo faded, still I see you in the amber. In the amber. In the amber light. You're still developed. Still developed. These words, they don't fit on aching paper. Of your name like a prayer. Prayers don't need envelopes, ink bleeding through fiber, staining what I cannot unsay. Blue black rivers carrying all the things that found me first. Your coffee cup still warm on the table where you left it. I trace the rim with my thumb, collecting heat that isn't there. I could fold this in the third, seal it with a kiss that never landed, address it to your handwriting, postmark it with my heartbeat. But some words only live in the holding, in the space between pen and paper. And I keep them here where they can't break, where they can't leave, where they can't change. The lamp casts amber shadows across your empty chair. I write in catalog moments, a specific way you used to stare at nothing much at all, but it was always you. My pen captures everything, except how to give it to you. Blue ink smudged by rain, though the windows stay closed. Your ghost is watercolor, and I am learning to stay dry. I could press this to my lips, let the paper drink my breath. Write your address in perfume, send it to where you used to rest. But some words only live in the holding, in the space between pen and paper. And I keep them here where they can't break, where they can't leave, where they can't fade. The envelope stays unsealed, like a promise to tomorrow that never learned to keep. Anything I said, I'd fold the corners neat, as if precision could contain the earthquake of your absence, the tsunami of my remaining. Paper cuts on my fingers from handling what's not there. Except through time, except through waiting, except through me. I found your frequency on the radio dial, static like breath between us, warm and thin. Never learned the way you moved in crowded rooms, only how you sat when music started playing, finger tracing static, finding that one station, the song that lived behind your half-closed eyes. I kept it tuned in case you would walk through a door, but the frequency only sounds like goodbye. And I never asked about the places that lived behind your silence. We never danced to this one, but I imagined your hands on my waist in the amber light. We never danced to this one, and the radio knows every step I never took with you. You used to hum when you thought nobody heard, off-key harmonies that lived in my ribs. I memorized the way your voice cracked on certain notes. Now I play them soft enough to make them mine. Vinyl surface holds the shape of your palm from when you held it here just yesterday. Or maybe it's been years. Time distorts like a song rewound too many times to play. And I never learned the soundtrack to the life we might have lived. We never danced to this one, but I imagined your hands on my waist in the amber light. We never danced to this one, and the radio knows every step I never took with you. The warm light flickers like a memory burning through. I could almost feel you move, but the song ends and the room remembers what the body never knew. Not the way I imagined we would, not the way I imagined we would. Your tape still spins and my players glow, burgundy light bleeding through the window. I press play like praying, like I could reach you. Through magnetic ribbon and ferric oxide, the room fills with someone else's laugh. Someone you were before you left this place. Rewind, rewind, I know every click of the plastic spool spinning backward to a moment that wasn't mine to keep. You left the cassette, I kept playing it until it became mine. Side A was the beginning, side B was you. 37 plays and your voice starts to fade into the hiss between the words. My thumb knows the shape of the rewind button better than your handwriting on the case. I trace the letters you wrote in ballpoint blue, now smudged from fingers that never held you. Rewind, I know every click of the plastic spool spinning backward to a moment that wasn't mine to keep. You left the cassette, I kept playing it until it became mine. Side A was the beginning, side B was you. The tape remembers what I forgot to ask. How do you say goodbye to something that hasn't learned to miss you back? My reflection in the glossy floor looks like someone who still believes that repetition could make you stay. Some songs don't play, they remember for you. Wooden tables worn by hands we'll never know. String lights blur the edges like a photograph developing slow. You ordered something in a language I forgot, while the man in the corner played the only song he knew. And I thought about the way the air smelled that night. Not the words, not the laughter, just the specific weight of light. Someone laughed so hard they cried, and I wanted to bottle that sound. I want to remember exactly this, not a photo of it, this. The way the evening held its breath before we walked back into the rest of a city that does not know our names. This was enough, this was everything. Footsteps echo different when the floor is glossy with night. We didn't speak, but that was alright. Your shoulder lightly touching mine, like we practiced this silence sometime. The guitar player never looked up, never stopped playing for nobody and everybody. The way some moments drop into your hands and you don't even notice until you're walking home with it tucked inside your coat. Someone laughed so hard they cried, and I wanted to bottle that that sound. I want to remember exactly this, not a photo of it, this. The way the evening held its breath before we walked back into the rest of a city that does not know our names. This was enough. This was everything. Now the string lights are just a memory, and the wooden tables exist only in dreams. But that feeling lives in my chest like a cassette that never needs to be rewound, because it plays itself on loop in the quiet. No name on the door, just the ghost of warm light on glossy floor.